instead of it just being a black people's problem. It's an American problem. And that's when racism will cease to be an accepted part of our culture.
I think it's been like you're raised like this and you're brought up this way. So you really have nothing to go against because this is your environment, this is your culture, and there's nothing wrong with it because it's what you're a part of and it's where you're from. So I think it's always been like you stay in your own circle and you're never ever supposed to branch it out to like let people hear about your life or the things like you've been through or like your environment entirely. So I do kind of think it's kind of like a bias of how people try to stranglehold you and like put you in a corner where you're not supposed to say nothing when there's a lot going on and there's a lot to be said.
W.E.B. Du Bois, he has this phenomenon called the double consciousness. Mm-hmm. So as a black person, that you exist in the eyes of other people as well as your own self. So with African Americans, it's like you have to be a black person first and then you're an American second. So I think definitely at Butler, you kind of go through the same thing where you come as an individual, but you're seen through the eyes of other people and how they think, who they think you are, how they think you're going to react to certain things. So you don't really have that. You have confinement in how you want to behave. If something makes you angry, and you're not a person of color, you can just be angry about it and not worry about not having to say something. It's the same way with sexism. When a woman gets angry about something, she has to control her temper so that she's not called a bitch or called outside of her name. And as a black person, you're expected to be angry about things. So when people do things to aggravate you, and you get angry about it, then it's like, oh, that's how they are. So it's this constant need of having the world see you for who you are and not having to run through your mind continuously about how are they going to see me if I do this, and what are the repercussions of doing this, because you're already expected to fail and have certain behaviors. So
white America picks and chooses what they want from us. They like our lips, but their noses are too big. They don't like how our hair is, but they like the hairstyle. They like the brownness, but not too much brownness, so they'll tan to, about as brown as they want to be. They want the big butt, but, when we twerk, it's disgusting, it's non-professional, it's this, it's that, it's dirty, it's ghetto. They like our music, but we can't play it in public or else we'll get shot.
No one talks about Hispanics, and I know that black people did have all of these problems, like I think much worse than Hispanics, but I am not allowed to complain about the oppression that my people also felt because no one even knows about it. No one thinks about Hispanics also being considered colors and also being oppressed.
It's in many ways silenced and don't talk about it, or stop pulling the race card, or you're actually just being reverse racist and this, that, and the third, and yeah. So in many ways it definitely exists.
An action can be racist without a person being racist.
This one time, me and a few friends, we were in our other friend's room, and all of us are black, and his roommate is white. His roommate comes in with all of his friends. He has like a bunch, and they walk in, and one of his friends says, "Oh my gosh, there's so many. They're everywhere. How do you even get sleep? I bet you they're so loud." And so we look to each other, and we're like, "Actually, not today." So we kind of just sit there and we watch them until they leave. And of course they're uncomfortable because there's so many black people around them in their room. But it's like, so they leave and we're like, so everyone heard that, right? And we just confirmed that had really just happened, that they were like, had really said they, who is they? You know who that is.
She's a business calculus professor, and what she did was in the class, she had a bell curve. And she had African Americans, our intelligence level was the highest peak, but the lowest part of the Hispanic bell curve. And then she made the Hispanic bell curve. And the highest peak of the Hispanic bell curve was the lowest part of the white bell curve. And of the white bell curve, no, flip that. The Asian bell curve was the highest was the lowest of whites, and whites were the last. That in itself, she used that as an example of what a bell curve looked like, but you can tell what her true message was.
There was one friend that I have, and the teacher, she's African American, so the teacher, I think referred to her and one of her other African American friends as like, you people, and just like, it was very like derogatory.
I think it's happened. I think it's happened where students have said on Yik Yak, I'm gonna run over, those black kids, those black students in the street, and then we'll have a diversity problem. That's already happened. Like we're beyond like maybe and what if, and like also the Black Student Union and a student group called Bust the Bubble, the movement, has already been raising these issues to administrators. So I think we're already past maybe, and it's gonna happen.
I don't feel welcome here. Like, I would transfer to IUPUI if I didn't want to change Butler as badly as I did.
First, it would just be by just educating people. Because I think a lot of it comes from just really not knowing. And when you don't know a person, when you haven't looked into it yourself, you're susceptible to believing whatever you see or just hear around you.
Being more aware of like what you say and what you do, and like definitely not being ignorant of like not just of like black people, but just like all people, like Asians, Indians, like, because I feel like that's like a really big problem because people just don't understand.
I think it's mostly legislation as far as the mass incarceration is concerned.
What we can do on this campus is create moments of love. And what I mean by that is that we spend money having these movie nights and program board and having concerts, but it's agitating to see us in the same area but not really being unified. I want to be able to go to an event and be like, hey, how you been? It's good to see you again. Instead of feeling like, are you disrespectful? Are you still racist like you were in my last class?